This was absolutely insane to witness as the Boston Bruins once again drop another game. There were some very big moments here in this game with a brand new lineup as well as Jeremy Swayman having a few ups and downs in this game that we're going to have to discuss here in this video. But overall, a game against the LA Kings that we wish we could forget. I'm going to be breaking it down here as well as some interesting quotes from, as you've seen there, Joe Sacco and Nikita Zadorov on Jeremy Swayman and his fight that nearly happened with Darcy Kuemper. So we're going to be talking about all that here in this video. Very quickly, before we get into it, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We know quite a few of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. Be sure to do that. And also go and watch on Spotify if you are on the go. We have both readily available for you wherever you are. But without any further ado, let's get into this video. Starting off here with the ESPN box score. We're going to have this going throughout the video on the bottom of the screen as well. But I wanted to pull up a few specific things here in this one. And now, we do have a bit of a different lineup for this game that I will pull up in a little bit, kind of discuss on that, what we saw, what we liked, and also keeping on the tabs for Morgan Geekie's goal scoring. He has continued to score goals no matter what line, moved down from the first line in this game to the second line for the first time in quite some time, not being paired with David Pastrnak, but that's not stopping him from getting another goal. But as you see here, Elias Lindholm scoring 19 seconds in the game. It's another one. Apart from that, though, it was bone dry for this Bruins team. And as we look at Jeremy Swayman here, really being the highlight, or low light, I guess we could say, of this game. His stats here, and, the goalie fight was the highlight of this game for him, or the attempted goalie fight. But when you see this on, Nesson, when you see this on NHL and TNT, when you see this on any of the sports, broadcasts going over this morning, this afternoon, going over the highlights, you probably won't see this stat line from Jeremy Swayman, as the media is going to try and hide this, but we have to show this. This is unacceptable for a goalie who is making upwards of $8 million. Someone who we thought was going to be the answer here this season ultimately turned out to be one of, if not the worst starter in the NHL this season. And we're going to touch a bit on that again in a moment here. But, as I mentioned, looking at this box score here, not too much going on, and even worse when you get down towards the bottom there with Jeremy Swayman on that one. But as I mentioned, a different looking lineup here today. Yes, we have Marat Kuznetsov, Casey Mittelstadt, and David Pastrnak on the first line. Morgan Geekie, Pavel Zacha, and Fabian Lysell on that second line. And then you're keeping the third line and fourth line pretty similar to what we had seen. Jacob Lauko moved down. Vinny Lettieri moved down to the third line. And, overall, looking like we're trying to stack this top six. And this was a move that I figured, hey, I kind of like this. And of course, I don't think this game was one that you can really judge these lines off of. We did have a goal from Morgan Geekie. I didn't hate the play from the first line, and as I kind of will get into here in a second now, the NHL stat card really is not going to show positive for anybody, so it's not really a good judge on paper of being able to display how these lines were, but this is another one where I want to see this lineup again in action. I want to see this lineup again against a team that, it's going to sound tough to say, against a team that's not in the playoffs, because the LA Kings are not the greatest team in the NHL. But the way this Bruins team is structured right now, their defense, their offense, everything built around this LA Kings team, it's not going to be an easy game regardless. Also fighting for a playoff spot, so they're going to put in 150% anyways. So I do like this lineup very much, but I want to see it once again. I need to see it in a game where the Bruins are actually going to be able to compete in in any sense for a win, here in this lineup. But I want to pull this up again, for the first time here, but it feels like again and again and again I'm pulling this up, and it's all kind of the same graph. Very, very little offense here, production. You see Elias Lindholm, Morgan Geekie at the top there, the two goal scorers, and you kind of see the rest of the top six there as well, as they were some of the only highlights in this game, but as you kind of go down towards the bottom, it's very tough to say, but the defense there at the bottom, I don't want to say it's their fault necessarily. A lot of goals that should have been saved, and a lot of stuff that shouldn't have gone in. But the defense here, they're not built for a full NHL length season. They're not built for what they're trying to do right now. If they're trying to go out and win games, this is not the defense you want. They're built for a first overall pick, and I think that's what we really have to look at here. But when you're playing out there, hung out to dry, 20 minutes nearly time on ice a game, there's not really much you can do. But even though it is that a 7-2 score, a -5 here on the defense, not a great look. But I want to get into some interesting quotes here from Joe Sacco and Nikita Zadorov on the concept of Jeremy Swayman fighting. And safe to say, the fans were loving it. I'm kind of indifferent. It is what it is. At that point in the game, it don't really matter, I would say, overall. But I really would have liked Jeremy Swayman to focus on, trying to get back to the fundamentals of saving a puck instead of going to fight Darcy Kuemper. And I feel like that was kind of the reaction from the Boston Bruins as well. And I'm going to pull up this first quote here from Nikita Zadorov, a guy who's very familiar with the physical game, the fighting in the NHL, and he really didn't have much to say about this. As a rule, hockey players like it when their teammates are defended. Nikita Zadorov, who knows all about the fighting code, did not give Swayman his endorsement. When asked, this is what Zadorov answered off the question if he appreciates Swayman sticking up for Marchand, who's Latino. He said, "It is what it is." Whoever was, I think it was Fluto Shinzawa. This is from the Athletic, Fluto, so I would assume it is him. Said looked like it, and Zadorov said, "Okay, I don't know, no comment." And this is a very interesting thing from Nikita Zadorov, who understandably is frustrated from this game. And, I'm sure the team isn't all for Jeremy Swayman going to fight when they're down. I can't remember the exact score, I didn't want to make a video last night either after this. It's so late in LA, playing in LA over here, and then trying to do a video about all this stuff last night. That was just ruining my mood for the night regardless. But, it does seem like the Bruins were also in that kind of mindset that, why was he doing this? Look at the score. Look at your save percentage, your goals against average. You need to start saving pucks instead of fighting. And I do understand why Zadorov is very, very frustrated here. But we have Joe Sacco's comment as well. When Fluto Shinzawa asked, "Are you okay with Jeremy Swayman challenging Kuemper?" This is what Joe Sacco had to say. "I just feel like tonight's game was more about there was some intensity involved in the game in the period there." The interim head coach answered, "I felt like we needed to be better as a team there in that situation and the whole second period after that third goal." Joe Sacco, once again, understandably frustrated as he has been for pretty much the entire season, been handed the reins to a team that was bound to disappoint. This was not about Jim Montgomery. His firing was there at the beginning of the season. I don't think that would have changed anything. The team that Don Sweeney, that Cam Neely had built, was not structured to go out here and win the games that they are hoping for, and they needed to win. And it really goes to show that Joe Sacco is kind of handed, a car with no wheels, if you will. He trying to push that down the road is absolutely not something you can do. The trade deadline was okay, but overall, when we're looking at games like this, when we're looking at Jeremy Swayman, who I want to pull up his record here for this season, goals against, the save percentage, are incredibly bad. Not at all stats that you want to be able to show off, stats where you are able to show off 20, 25, and 6, 12 goals against, 45th in the NHL, sorry, 892 save percentage, tied for 43rd, and 4 shutouts. It don't matter if he had 20 shutouts. It don't matter at all. If you can't win games, if you're having stats like this and you have 35 shutouts and your team is still losing because of your lack of ability to save a puck, it is what it is at that point. You can't, that won't matter. But when you're looking at the rest of it, it is very unacceptable for a goalie who just got paid for 8 years, getting paid $66 million over 8 years, and is supposed to be the backbone of your team to be able to get you to a playoff spot, to get you deep into the playoffs. We had relied on him last year. Saw how that turned out, looked pretty good, and gave him the contract after holding out for not getting what he wanted. Things are not looking good for him. Of course, the payday, the wallet, he probably don't care. Hopefully that's not the case, but it certainly does seem like that this season is a wash for him, and you need to go back to the drawing board with something. But as we do progress to the rest of the season, the Bruins do have quite a few picks, and we hope to see some of these made very, very early, if not first overall in this year's NHL draft. And I mean, if this game was the mark for anything, this was a first overall pick game for the Boston Bruins. So let me know what you think about this. What are your thoughts on Jeremy Swayman fighting? I'm very curious to see after the kind of discussions from Nikita Zadorov, Joe Sacco. And, as I mentioned, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I couldn't really care for it. If this was a game where, it was close, they were winning, it was a very good battle from Swayman, I wouldn't really care. But when you're looking at a game, you're down bad, Swayman being, a big fault of that, and then going to try and fight when it don't really matter, I'm not the biggest fan of it, although I do love myself a good goalie fight. So let me know what you think in the comments below. That's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well, but I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.